Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's estimated that the FBI's cyber division receives roughly 800 cybercrime complaints each and every day, whether it's phishing, extortion, identity theft, or data breaches. It's estimated that cybercrime losses last year alone exceeded $4 billion. And I believe it's probably actually higher than that. Earlier this year, we experienced cyber attacks on, as was already mentioned, the Colonial Pipeline, JBS Foods, more recently, Sinclair Broadcast Group. Major cyber attacks are becoming far more frequent than ever before, having larger impacts. And many of these attacks have connections to Russia or China or Iran or organized crime. Lapses, as lapses in security begin to have larger effects on the everyday lives of regular Americans, we need to reassess and strengthen our cybersecurity efforts. Last year, cyber attackers targeted a hospital and a nursing home in my congressional district. The attackers were able to get a hold of personal information and hospital records of patients. And as a member of the Congressional Cybersecurity Caucus, and at the time, for the last 6 years, I was either the chairman or the ranking member of the House Small Business Committee. So I worked in a bipartisan way to find solutions and introduced a number of pieces of legislation, including the Small Business Development Center Cyber Training Act, which required the Small Business Administration, the SBA, to establish a cybersecurity program for small businesses. It passed the House with bipartisan support. We're still hoping for the Senate to take this up. We need to use every tool at our disposal to help protect Americans and small businesses from cyber crimes. This legislation that we're considering today would help in that effort by creating a cybercrime taxonomy to help identify challenges in our cybersecurity infrastructure. And since there is no comprehensive data collection of cyber crimes, and states and localities do not report their cyber crimes to the federal government, this legislation would, I believe, provide greater clarity as to the types of cyber crimes we face as a nation, which would help the federal law enforcement to fight against these often devastating attacks. And what I found as the chair for 4 years and ranking member for 2 years of a small business committee, that these attacks can be truly devastating. And oftentimes, the business that gets attacked ends up within 6 months or so going out of business, because the cost to defend themselves against one of these attacks can be tens of thousands of dollars, sometimes hundreds of thousands. And the margin is so close in small businesses oftentimes that they just can't overcome one of these attacks. And small businesses are they're being targeted more and more frequently by bad actors all across the globe. So I commend my colleagues in a bipartisan manner here for supporting this legislation. We have to do something about cybercrime, and this is a good step forward. It's not going to solve the problem completely, but it's a good step forward, and I support it, urge my colleagues to do the same, and I yield back.